Hi everybody, I'm Akal Sahai with Be the Lighthouse, and today we're going to read some more of Heroes of the Light, and let's pick up where we left off the other day and see where the adventure takes us. Heroes of the Night, Chapter 2. Inga pulled me close until we were back to back, each under our own covers. She, however, turned to face me and put her arm over me as she said, "I want a church wedding." Needless to say, I was completely blown away and also wide awake, but she ran her fingers through my hair until I relaxed and fell asleep. Finding an intact church was no small task even for me, though arranging the wedding was easier than crossing the street, as again, it was front page news. I, however, was very specific, no press, and Klaus made that happen. He and his family have always been the family my sister and I have never had. Thus, the school of a lifetime belonged to his sister. Shoot, she literally raised my sister and I could about cry just thinking about her. Anyway, it's not that I have an official photographer or anything, but I've let her know, hey, you might want to be at so-and-so place, and she gets the pictures, which really gave her career a boost, put her on the map, as it were. I've always just seen it as paying her back for always being there for my sister and I. She was the mother we never had. Anyway, Sis did things up right. She showed up with the whole team. They were all in training anyway. Dress unis, medals by the truckload. Klaus even dusted off his old uni, perpetually tugging at it as he protested, "Blessed thing shrank in the closet." We both long since lost track of how many dozens of times we saved each other's lives. He obviously was my best man, and Sis was Inga's maid of honor. The team and Klaus's family filled up the remainder of the wedding party, and oh, what a celebration it was. The honeymoon wasn't about going somewhere scenic, it was about going somewhere safe. Sis being Sis, though, it had to be epic, and yes, we even took Klaus and his sister along. Klaus was thrilled beyond measure to be out with the team again, and no, I don't have to prove it because his sister filmed it all. She makes documentaries now, literally writing her own ticket, and yes, I know, I still haven't told you about the honeymoon. If you knew my sister, this wouldn't surprise you in the least. But anyway, she names out this beach. It's about 600 kilometers behind enemy lines, but says, "I've got it all lined out. It's a small resort town. We shoot in by day, we shoot in by night, stay a few days, no big deal." She, however, neglected the fact that Inga and Klaus's sister Karin are not trained parachutists. She dismissed that concern by saying, "Tandem jump." Even Inga was gung-ho about the idea, and Karin exclaimed, "This will be the PR scoop of the millennium." She was right about that. Things hadn't been going well on the southeast front for quite some time. This was going to be huge. We have our own air wing and complete autonomy, so no one questions anything we do. Shoot, no one even knows where our orders come from. Sometimes we'll just get more like general suggestions or a wish list. We'll get stuff like, "Hey, it'd be really great if you could eliminate this general," so we go and kidnap them. One time we received a request to destroy a gold shipment, so we hijacked it. We always get stuff like that. We get, "This sector could really use a hand," a lot too. Sometimes we go and fight, but more often than not, we serve as advisors, do scouting, training, etc. Night drop, we pop in and walk in like we own the place. We rented the top floor of the best hotel in town, right on the beach, and no one questions anything. No one ever asked to see our papers, and Sis paid for it all in stacks of local currency we had liberated from one of their banks. Needless to say, we had the time of our lives, and Karin filmed everything. The last night, though, we went back out into the woods where our work gear was stored, and I phoned home. The great thing about being who and what I am is no one questions any order I give. They can't. Thus, when I sent Mission Alpha Red, the birds were in the air in minutes. Every sector keeps a go team ready at a moment's notice for wherever they're needed. A lot of the time that means whatever hotspot we're in. Mission Alpha Red, however, means bring everything you've got, including harsh language and a kitchen sink, to my position, so no one questioned my being 600 kilometers behind enemy lines. They just did it. It's awesome being me. Karin, of course, filmed the whole thing. It was broadcast on every channel we could access, and the entire southeast front collapsed. I made captain over that. Sis made lieutenant. Inga officially joined the team, and it was medals all around. Lots of training ensued, but Inga and I had seemingly bonded on a subatomic level. Thus, there was this instant sharing of skills, information, and everything, really. The Southeast Front was only one small part of the war. but it was our first major victory in seemingly forever and a half, and things really snowballed from there. As the face of victory, I got lots of airtime, but again, I had my own personal journalist in Karin, and she was there throughout. The bigger our victories, the more open I could be, and I began speaking of oneness and how we were fighting ourselves. The peace we created on the Southeast Front soon spread to the other sectors, and I'll let you guess who was there at the center of it all, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Wherever your journey takes you, may you be blessed to know love such as I have and to have friends as incredible as mine. Footsteps in the Night, Chapter 1. I had quite the idyllic childhood growing up on the frontier. The war changed all of that. Dad had been saying war's coming for years, and he was right. He's chief of scouts for the U.S. Army, so it's his job to know. He was given a massive land grant on the frontier as some sort of award. It's a staggering amount of property filled with the most amazing canyons, mountains, crystal clear streams, and whatnot. Gray Eagle and my father took an instant liking to each other, thus he and his tribe were hired as caretakers. Mom was decidedly less than enthusiastic about frontier life, but she adapted quickly, and I came along soon after. Gray Eagle's first child was also born about the same time, and she and I grew up together. White Feather was seemingly born on a horse and can track the wind. She even moves like the wind. Sometimes I wonder if her feet ever touch the ground because I can never track her. Dad created a scout training camp and invited White Feather, myself, and Tonio to come check it out. Tonio's dad is the foreman at the ranch, and his mom is our cook. We all grew up together, though Tonio spent more time on the ranch. I was always with White Feather and her family. They taught me to ride, hunt, and all that great outdoor stuff. They also look after my family and help out with the farm. Anyway, we go to the scout camp and end up running the thing. The next thing I know, I'm Sergeant Dylan Harper with my own scout team. Anyway, we get lots of high-profile missions. Dad had us scouting the South months before the war began. When the war was about a month old, he sent us so far behind enemy lines, we might as well have been in Cuba. It was an extraction, a high-ranking government official, his wife, and their 3 daughters. They'd been caught behind enemy lines, like so many others, and forced to make do. Things had already boiled over by the time we arrived, but only the youngest daughter remained. We found her hiding in a closet and, unlike her family, unharmed. Age 14, though she certainly didn't look like it, Rhonda Fleming said, "No one calls me that. Everyone calls me Obie," though she did not explain why. I nodded. "We have to get out of here." She nodded, seemingly not the least bit upset. Maybe she had already dealt with it. She simply said, "Let me grab a few things." A few small items vanished into the folds of her dress. Tonio came running up as she looked about for something else. "Captain." I have no idea why he does that. I'm only a sergeant, but they all call me Captain, even White Feather, which is incredibly odd given how long we've known each other, but I think it's out of respect. They had all the angles covered, watching the windows as it were. "Anyway, Captain," he says, "they're coming." I nodded and said, "We need a diversion." He nodded and said, "Torch the house." That, however, did not sit well with Obie. I asked, "How many?" Tonio replied, 24. I let out a low whistle and said, "It's a moonlit night. It's either that or we don't get out of here." Obie nodded, closed her eyes, and exhaled deeply. She picked up a few more things and said, "Okay." Tonio had been watching the front. White Feather had the back, as that was where the barn and thus our horses were. Slim was out in the barn. He's this bear of a man that carries a sawed-off shotgun. You definitely don't want to mess with him. Doc and the rest of the team had been posted to upper story windows. The house was trashed. They'd obviously been looking for something. White Feather led us to the barn where Doc and the guys torched the place. They'd taken all the horses, thus I pulled Obie up onto Goldie behind me. She tied her auburn hair back, and off into the night we went. She relaxed up against me with her arms around me and laid her head on my shoulder. As the hour grew late, I warned, "We're way behind enemy lines. We're going to have to ride through the night." I felt Obie nod as she made herself comfortable up against me, and with that we rode off into the night in silence. She seemed unfazed when it began raining a few hours later. I whispered, "There's a raincoat in my left saddlebag." She ignored the gold coins, loaded pistol, and food, and pulled the aforementioned raincoat over us. I was pleasantly surprised when she draped it over the both of us. It was cool as we followed White Feather through the night. She's far and away our best rider, thus she always rides point. At daylight, we were still so far from safety we might as well have been in Africa, thus I made the bird call for White Feather to come to me. We have dozens of calls from our time hunting together. In enemy territory, though, she knew better than to have a lengthy or loud discussion, even on a deserted road as we were. Thus, she leaned in close to listen to me whisper, "We need a place to hole up." She nodded and led us off into the woods. The rain had officially stopped, but the rain had finally stopped, but everything was pretty wet except for Obie and myself. She had somehow managed to keep the raincoat over the both of us throughout the night. I didn't remember it being that large. Whitefeather found a dry canyon and we set up at the far end. Lucy and Slim took the first watch and Whitefeather built a smokeless fire. Tea soon followed and it was just like being in the woods back home. Obie, however, just cried and clung to yours truly. Not exactly a position from which to command, but we had obviously bonded in the night. There were lots of looks and glances from the team, but they kept their distance. She wouldn't let go of me, so I closed my eyes and was soon asleep with my hat over my eyes. Obie must have had a nightmare of some kind because she woke up screaming, "No, no," which was the last thing we needed. I ended up with my hands over her mouth as she kicked and thrashed. I kept repeating, "Obie, it's me, Dylan," but it didn't help. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "We rode through the night. You're safe now." She finally recognized me and collapsed up against me, but I knew we'd made way too much noise. Tonio, which is short for Antonio, came running up. "Trouble's coming, Captain." I nodded and said, "Break out the rifles." Everyone knew what to do with us. I just needed a safe place for Obie. I looked around and found what I had been looking for. I led her to a pile of rocks and handed her one of my pistols as I said, "Stay here until the shooting stops." She looked at the pistol like it was this foreign thing, but she gripped it with both hands as she held it out in front of her. We were in a lush valley. The canyon was narrow, with plenty of cover. The walls were high, thus it would be easy to pick off anyone attempting to climb down into the canyon. Whitefeather had everyone in good position, and with our Henry rifles, confidence was high. They threw out an amazing amount of firepower, and our tremendous equalizer was my motto, never tell me the odds. In the middle of the woods as we were, it couldn't be anything larger than a small patrol, but I wasn't taking any chances. Tonio, Slim, Doc, and Lucky were up front, and Whitefeather and I were in the middle. Jackson's far and away the best shot, so he was up in the rocks in the back of the canyon to cover everybody. My binoculars revealed they were raiders. Their distinctive gold sashes identified them as belonging to some such irregular band of marauding thugs. There were about to be a few less raiders. I couldn't help but wonder if they had followed us from Obie's house. Slim's shotgun ripped a hole in something and it was on. Jackson opened up and they didn't stand a chance. 7 Henrys and it was game over. The ability to fire 16 shots when everyone else can only fire 1 before they have to reload their rifle is a true game changer. They were presents from my dad and have saved our behinds more than a few times. Things were winding down when Obie comes out from behind her rocks, eyes wide with rage as she blasts away. After she'd had her 6, she grabbed my other pistol and emptied it at our enemies. I have no idea what came over her, and I doubt she came within 10 feet of hitting whatever she was aiming at. It was a miracle she didn't hit one of us or get shot herself. The remainder of the raiders fled after Obie went berserk, and with that it was time to go. She returned my pistols and began looking through the raiders. I sat down to reload my pistols while everyone else broke camp. When I was 12, my mom gave Whitefeather and I a pair of .36 caliber Navy Colt revolvers. She and I were attacked when we were out camping, and it took both of us to bring him down. That was when my mom gave us the pistols. We practiced with them a lot and swore to always look out for each other. Tonio offered Obie one of the raiders' horses, but I could tell by the look on her face that the thought of touching anything that had ever belonged to one of them was revolting. Thus she solemnly followed me to Goldie. As she cozied up behind me, I asked, "You recognize any of them?" She shook her head, relaxed up against me, and put her arms around me. The ride was pretty uneventful after that. We will pause there for today. If you enjoyed that, please hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to be the first to be notified of when I upload new videos. And you can order signed copies of Heroes of Light at the link in the description below. Thank you and have a great day.